الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وبيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأكرم وأنعم على حبيبنا المصطفى محمد بن عبد الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. قال أعز من قائل بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. My dear brothers and sisters and brothers, I advise you all, as I advise myself first and foremost, to be generous with the command of Allah, to invite Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into our hearts with full recognition of His generosity upon us. And when we ask ourselves, what does it mean to have a generous soul? We usually relate the idea of generosity in terms of money, right? That if someone is generous, it's someone who gives their money, right? But we very rarely discuss the idea of generosity from the perspective of the heart, right? That how do we develop a generous spirit? And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was once looking at the mountain of Uhud with Abu Dhar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and he looked at that mountain and he said, imagine if that mountain was gold, right? That this type of thought exercise, that imagine if all of the mountain of Uhud, that Allah just turned it all into gold. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that people, right, who would have that much gold, like literally the size of a mountain, he said very few of them will be successful in the hereafter. Except, and he specifies a type of person. He said, except for the one who in relation to that gold, right, were to give it like this. And he said, هَكَذَا وَهَكَذَا, right? This type of expression, right, of just having a sense of being free, right? And many of the Sahaba used to say that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the way that he would give is كَأَنَّهُ لَا يَخْشَى الْفَقْرِ. He said the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would give as if he did not fear poverty, right? But my goal is not to talk about money. My goal is to talk about generosity of spirit, right? That this idea, when we talk about today boundaries, Or you talk about that friend, right, who only comes to you when you need something, right, or when they need something, right? That how do we develop generosity of spirit to the point where we don't feel the insecurity that someone is just trying to take something from us, right? And this is part of the instabilities, that when you feel stable within yourself, then you are able to give from yourself freely. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He instructed the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to establish the prayer at night in solitude. And the reason why he said this is he said, فَإِنَّ لَكَ فِي النَّهَارِ سَبْحًا طَوِيلًا. So you have a long day ahead of you. As in, you're going to need the spiritual rigor to attain the level of generous spirit that is required to deal with people, that is required to put your game face on when it comes to dealing with the challenges of life, that you need to be stable internally so that you can give to other people. And one of our great proverbs in the Arabic language is فَاقِدُ الشَّيْء لَا يُعْطِيهِ. The one who does not have cannot give, right? And so part of developing generosity of the soul is that the soul must be spiritually charged. And when Ibrahim alayhi salam, when the angels who were sent, right, to give him the good news of his child, and they were also sent to give him the news of what is going to happen to the people of Lut, that they came to him, فَأَوْجَسَ مِنْهُمْ خِيفَةً. So he got scared of them. They didn't know they were, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَا لَبِثَ أَنْ جَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ حَنِيذٍ. He said, but it was not even a matter of moments before Ibrahim alayhi salam brought them, right, a very fat calf, a roasted calf, that he honored his guests. He doesn't even know who they are. Not only that, he's scared of them and what harm may come to him from them, right? But we see here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by pointing out فَمَا لَبِثَ, they were barely there before he came and presented them with this generosity. That the question is, what is our impulse? Right? That what is the difference between someone who is generous of spirit versus someone who may give, but they are a disagreeable giver? As in to say, they may give because it's a cultural norm. They may give because they don't want to disappoint the people around them who they're giving to. They may give, but it's not an impulse to give, right? And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said the only type of sadaqah, the only type of true sadaqah, is that which is given طيب النفس, that which is given and the soul is happy, right? And so if we're in positions where someone is asking us for something, and like I said, it's not necessarily money, it's time, it's effort, it's consideration, it's service, it's volunteering, right? that the question that we have to ask ourselves is not whether we're doing the action or not. It's where is the heart when the question is asked. And so for Ibrahim alayhi salam, his impulse immediately, قالوا سلاما, right? They said salam, he said salam. Let me go get you guys some food, right? Where is the soul in the process? Because that is what Allah loves to look at, right? That Allah loves to see a heart that is conditioned to respond. And that's why the Sahaba, they characterized the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they would say that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never said no, right? He was someone who loved to say yes, right? Because he understood a fundamental reality of this world, which is capitalize on the situation, capitalize upon what Allah has given you, or as they say, use it or lose it. And this is the meaning of لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. If you use it, I'll give you more. If you make use of it, make shukr of it, realize its value, and use it properly, then I give you more of it. And they did many studies. Yesterday I was discussing with the senior program about one study, right, that was done on dementia, where elders were able to prevent, right, dementia to some extent, of course, and Allah knows best, or to resist the effects of it by using their brain, by doing puzzles like Sudoku, by reading, right? And so this idea that whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, the way that you keep it is not by creating walls so others cannot access it, but it's rather by giving and using it that you preserve it, right? And so whether it's knowledge, right? Like I've heard some people say, it's like you can't give away, right, all of your knowledge. You have to keep some of it for yourself, right? You can't give it away too fast. And Abu Yusuf Shaybani, the great student of Abu Hanifa, he said, I was able to amass great knowledge, right, by being generous whenever anyone asked me, right, about something. By being generous whenever anyone asked me about knowledge or about a topic. That I didn't just give them, right, what, was a bare bones answer. I take the time to sit and give them the ability to understand. And this can apply to anything. That we have to become people, right? And I know that we are in a society that really preaches, boundaries and self-care and, treat yourself and, and ultimately though we have to ask ourselves, are we transacting with ourself? As in, is the self the place where blessings are given? Or is it when we transact with Allah that barakah comes to us? that good fortune comes to us, that the preservation of blessings come to us, right? And so in that sense, we are able to adopt a mindset of abundance, right? That the one who is giving is not limited. And so why are we placing limits upon him, right? And we're doing so because we've created a worldview that boxes us within our human limitations, not understanding that what we have is not limited by us. It's given by an unlimited creator. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives us the ultimate insurance policy, where He says, right, Inna Allaha la yudi'u ajra al-muhsinin. That Allah will never waste the reward, the benefit, the blessing of someone who does something with ihsan, as in they go above and beyond for others, for Allah. And so in this sense, right, because a lot of times people feel this way, right? They go above and beyond, and then the other person just kind of does things in a mediocre way, or they fail to reciprocate. And so Allah is saying, look it, I will never allow your efforts, if you are a muhsin, to go to waste. So don't worry about what they do, or their ability to reciprocate or not, right? That focus on me, focus on Allah. And you will find with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the inspiration and the motivation and the aspiration, right? To do things in a beautiful way, to say yes when others would say no, to volunteer and to be of service even when you feel like you're not getting that same appreciation and gratitude back. Right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us people who are Allah-centric, who are Allah-oriented, and live with a worldview of an unlimited creator, and allow us to be from the muhsineen. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله فاستغفروه إنه الغفور الرحيم. استغفر الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. So inshallah ta'ala, tonight is our annual Quran night. We're very excited with Sheikh Ismail and Sheikh Hassan Saleh, Sheikh Fuad al-Qasas. We're very excited to have these incredible Qurra here tonight. So I request of you humbly that, we request your attendance. We want to make sure these Qurra feel welcomed and feel that the community has come out and shared with them in this beautiful night in which we can renew our connection with the words of Allah, the perfect words of Allah. And so inshallah ta'ala, that will be after Isha tonight. So please bring the family, bring everyone, inshallah ta'ala, and join us tonight for a beautiful night of remembrance and a beautiful night of Quran. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the Quran the spring of our hearts. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. O Allah, we ask you by all of your most beautiful names that you heal our hearts. We ask you that you make the Quran a shifa for our hearts. Make the Quran a means of shafa'ah for us in our graves. Ya Rabbil Alameen, we ask you to not allow us to be of those who have neglected the Quran. To make us of those, even if we read a letter, even if we read a translation, even if we listen to it, no matter what we do, O Allah, allow us to take a step forward in our lives with the Quran. Ya Rabbil Alameen, allow us to know with our hearts that many of the problems we face in our lives are because we have abandoned and neglected the Quran. Ya Allah, allow us to be people who are generous in their tawbah to Allah. Make us of those who are not too stubborn to turn to you, Ya Allah, and say, Ya Allah, I'm sorry. Say, Ya Allah, I want to be better. Ya Allah, do not allow us to be a fitna to those who are struggling in their faith. Make us people who are facilitators. Make us people who are helpers of those who feel low in their self-esteem and their self-worth. Make us people who, when they see us, they feel that we are a people who are willing to pick them up by their hand and dust them off and help them to their feet and love them to Allah. Ya Rabbil Alameen, birahmatika nastaghith. Ya Allah, in your mercy we seek help, we seek aid, we seek refuge, we seek healing. Ya Allah, all those who are sick, all those who are suffering, all those who are in poverty, Ya Allah, we ask you to relieve them of their sickness, of their debts. Ya Allah, come to their aid and fill their hearts with hope and comfort and facilitate for them their needs. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. أقم الصلاة.